What's going on, everybody? I'm with dear friends of mine and legends in the game, in my opinion, with Jelani Smith, Jamar Dixon, and Tofa Fakunle. Happy Black History Month. Manu, how are we feeling? How's everything?
Feeling
Man's
good.
good?
Feeling
Okay.
good.
We got to throw out some titles. So it's not just Jamar Dixon. We realized that the three of you have one hardware in the CPL, and I'm the only one that hasn't. So don't rub it in too much this this little conversation. We'll just drive by. But Jamar Dixon, manager of football and player development for Pacific FC. Got Jelani Smith, director of soccer operations, Forge FC. Tofa Fakunle, assistant general manager for Cavalry FC. Big names. And there's just me that works at One Soccer and covers all you guys and your beautiful teams. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. All right, let's get straight into it. So we got some questions we want to talk about and discuss for this 30 minutes. And I'm just gonna start with Jelani. Why does Black History Month resonate with you?
Listen, it's in the name. It's a part of our history. It's a time to reflect, honor, evolve, educate. Black History Month is it's not limited to a month for us. We live this every day. It's our experience, and it's something that's near and dear. As we're all Black males here, and we know the trials and tribulations, but also and the hardships we face being executives or being in leadership roles and positions. However, there's also a lot of honor and evolution we've seen during these times as well in periods. And having these three guys or you three guys here on this call is a representation and reflection of the progress we've had. But for Black History Month, for me globally, it's an opportunity for us to share our history and our contributions.
Absolutely. Jamar, how do you feel about it? Like, what resonates with you?
Like Jelani said, it's not a month for us. It's a lifestyle. It's what it is. It's every day. But it does give us an opportunity to, speak on the things that we deal with, and also celebrate the successes that we have in the positions that we're in, and also allow people to look up to us and show that there's opportunity and there's a pathway for them as well. So I think I don't really like saying Black History Month. I just like to say, it's our history. It's who we are. It's our culture. It's part of what we do every day. So that's what it is to me.
Before I get to you, Tofa, it's one of those things too. I think Jelani and Jamar, you both touched on it in terms of educating. Like, Black History Month is not one of those times where I'm like, ooh, I have to go and talk about things. It's just a time to really educate and inform myself. There's so many things about like alarm systems or like people that have invented stuff that you just throughout the 365 you kind of just maybe forget. This is a time to honor the people that like came before you and the things that you're doing now every day that came from your ancestors, came from people. So it's just that time to really honor the forefathers from others that came before you. But Tofa, what sticks out to you? What resonates with you?
Yeah, listen, I agree with everything that you guys have mentioned. I think most importantly, it's really important to remember, and I just want to give a little short example. Over the Christmas break here, I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but I watched one on Netflix. A true story about how Black women, it helped deliver mail in the war for the U.S. Army. I never knew anything about that. So educating myself, learning through movies such as that, I think is important. And yeah, it should be highlighted, but it shouldn't be highlighted in just 1 month. Like Jamar said, this is an everyday thing that we live, and we continue to do that. And going through whatever's next and creating new history is also a part of that.
Movie is the 688, I think.
Yeah. You got it.
I haven't seen it, but while you're talking, I just have to do a quick little deep dive in because everyone's been raving about this, and I forgot the name. So it's like it's one of those
great
things
movie.
too. Yeah, I definitely have to take that in. So I'll go back to you, Tofa. Like, how would you characterize your experience as a Black leader in soccer? So quickly, what I know about you, I know that it is freezing right now, minus 40 in Calgary or
Minus
Calgary.
40.
Someone told me it's minus 40 over there.
Wow. It
But
jumped.
it's
Listen, I'm inside, brother. Minus 40.
brick. I would not even take out the trash in -40. Like, no chance. There's no dog that's even trying to go outside and relieve themselves. Like, that is brick. But I see you. I see the way you operate. I always describe Cavalry as like a family club. But how would you like characterize your experience as a leader? Because that's what you are in your community. You're like, I'm little old Tofa, but you are that leader. Like, how'd you characterize that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm little Tofa. You're Big Jordan. But
Nah, that's big Jelani. I'm like medium sized Jordan.
That's cool on the tops.
Oh, for me, honestly, leadership is an everyday thing. You know, leadership isn't perfected over one day. You learn, you grow, and you evolve. And I'm a big believer in that. Myself, included being a Black leader, obviously, I think comes with responsibility. I'm always trying to set a good example for everybody. You know, Black, white, whatever the case may be. But it's incredibly important to set a good example. It's incredibly important to recognize that the times that we're in right now, in terms of how soccer is growing and evolving in this country, and being able to be a part of writing history. You know, I really take it seriously to make sure that I do everything that I can the best way possible, because I want it to be remembered, you know, as having a direct impact, you know, of shaping the future of the game in this country. You know, I believe Jamar, you have kids. Jelani, you have a kid. I have a kid myself. Jordan, you have a kid. So every single day, you know, when I go home and I look at my little boy, you know, obviously I want him to play ball, but at the end of the day, that's his choice. But
A natural
you know,
feeling.
and working to create an environment where I can also see him, you know, succeed and have a future. So yeah, being a Black leader is everything, and I take it incredibly seriously to set a good example for the next generation.
I think that's beautiful, Tofa. I think too when I'm going to you next, Jamar. When I think about the first time I met you, the second bubble, Winnipeg bubble, and from now I'm like I can never go back to Winnipeg because of the 30 whatever days. But you just emanated leadership, right? When I see you play on the pitch, and now you're in a role right now in Pacific where you're doing that day in and day out. But how would you characterize your experience as a Black leader in football?
Um, no, thanks for that, Jordan. For me, listen, it's when you're, I mean, you know, you're a Black captain, right? It's not, you don't come across that as much as, you know, it's just how it is. You know, it's not that, you know, we haven't been able to be in those positions. It's just typically, you don't get that role, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. Um, and I think it's very important for us to you know provide all the support, understanding of all of our players, Black, white, brown, yellow, it doesn't matter, right? It's up to us to understand the people and give back as much as we can. So when people look back at your work, they can say, okay, yeah, you know, it wasn't that it's a Black captain. They'll say Jordan or Jamar were successful in what they did and how they contributed to the team, things like that. But to Tolfa's point about you know, being a leader and doing your work to the best of your ability. I mean, listen, like I'll speak to Jelani and Tofa. Like, you know, you guys do exceptional work, and I see it, but I don't look at it as just these Black guys. I look at it as, you know, these guys know, and we all know that we got to work a little harder to do certain things. That's standard. That's what we've been raised on. So when we continue to do our work and we do it the right way, you know, and you get the results that you get, it's just a testament of who we are and kind of our rich history. That's really what it comes down to. It's not luck. It's never luck. It's always having to do things two steps ahead, right? So yeah, I definitely want to continue to lead. I think in the office, it's another thing. I also provide a lot of support to the players, the front office staff, all of that. Um, but but I definitely want to leave something behind. So the next person in this role understand the challenges and understand that it's not easy, and they'll understand the work that I've put in.
No, I love that. I love that. Jay, how do you feel about it? How would you characterize your experience as a leader?
Being a part of the leadership and executive structure has been a challenging experience, we'll say, and not necessarily just because of my skin color. We all here got an accelerated education, right? We were all trailblazers in this league. There was no blueprint or breadcrumbs. So through the errors and trials and tribulations, we kind of develop a structure, a routine, or protocols for your club's daily function. I've worked with a lot of brilliant minds here at Forge and people who I could lean on in time, but it wasn't the easiest transition. Considering the first 2 years when I was at Forge, my foot was quite little on the pitch sometimes in terms of session, like joining sessions and training with the team. But
yeah, being
in the office now, a part of generation and being a catalyst for change, it means the world. And to Jamar's point, I know we're all four of us here have heard from our parents. You have to work twice as harder for the same job because of the color of our skin. And to see us here all at this peak, and I say peak because we kind of brushed over it, but it deserves its flowers. The 3 teams that have lifted the trophy here in the CPL are represented right now on this call, right? And that's a testament to the work here. I know Jay, you didn't get one, but I'll send you a medal.
Okay. Yo, send a little ribbon, dog. You know the participation ribbon, the purple one? Yo,
yeah.
That's what you're gonna send me. Yo, throw that away, dog.
Right, get you one of the car star medals here. But seriously, really and truly, it's incredible seeing these gentlemen here lift the trophy. And I made sure that I gave Tofa a big hug and a congratulations in that last finals there, because they deserved it.
It means more, right? Like, it's the same with Tofa, it's the same with Jamar in 2021 when you won, and I was still playing, and I remember being like, seeing you and Pa, and like, bro, I don't cry, but like, and it's fine too, but it doesn't happen. There's like, the eye water was bubbling. I was like, because it just means so much more. It's not something you see all the time. I guess for like regular people that maybe don't share our melanin in our skin, it's just like, oh, that's a beautiful moment. But like what that represents to us, just speaks volumes, right? So you always want to celebrate those moments. It was similar to 2024 with you, Tofa, as well. Like being in Calgary and just seeing all that work and like all that you've been a part of as well. Like you're happy for your brothers when those moments come around, you know? And I just think too, Jay, you touched on something which I personally experienced on the media side as well. Is like when you're one of the first, or there have been people that have done it, but maybe not in the same role. It's almost like you're the first kid in like a family of like 12, right? Like you have so many things you want to worry about, but you want to make sure that you're doing your job to the best of your ability. You still want to be your own person, but you know you're going to make mistakes. I don't want to say pressure, but there is that little bit of like expectation that you put on yourself to make sure that you're the trailblazers for the next bit. Like even when I think about things, I'm like, I want to conduct myself in a way that there's an 8-year-old right now that maybe is saying, hey, there's a role that I could do down the road. Like I want to be a teacher growing up, but if I was maybe growing up now, I would want my job, but I just didn't see people doing what I do, or what you do, Jamar, or what you do, Tofa, or what you do, Jelani. So it's like there's a bit of that expectation that lingers and looms. But that's why I'm so proud of you guys in that role, because you're like setting that, you're trailblazing and setting that standard for the next bit to come. Our sons, daughters, whoever it might be, kids right now that are just looking at the game and that love it. And it's bigger than just what football can bring, right? It's what you're representing in everyday life. So that leads me to my next question, and it's just going to be for you, Tofa. Everyone's going to answer, but I guess you'll go first. Is like, what areas do you feel like you've excelled to get to this point? Basically, what separates you? What puts you in that role as a Black leader that is maybe grassroots, or whatever you want to take that question? Like, what makes you you, and what makes you excel in this role?
Yeah, listen, great question. And to be honest, I'd like to touch a little bit on what you just said, you know, in terms of how we get to these roles. I think ultimately, Jelani, you know, he said it best where he's on the pitch sometimes. You know, I lived that. I remember at the, the Island Games when I could have scored that Halifax. Jelani was you know?
Hey, you have me scared.
I was nervous.
I'm looking at this guy and I'm wondering, but you know how I feel, you know? That's not easy, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been allowed to make mistakes, and I think that's important. You know, going through leadership and doing what we do, you're gonna have days where you mess up, where you fail, but you're still given that opportunity to keep going forward. And then that leads me to my next point about the next question that you asked. I think the big thing that what makes me is is character and the pursuit of excellence, in everything. My parents raised me that way. I call it my moral code. My moral standards are that way. And regardless, win, lose, draw, whatever the case may be, you take the lessons, you move on, and you apply yourself better the next time. But you can't be an excuse maker. Excuse makers don't last in any industry or in any world, regardless if you're black, white, or whatever the case may be. So you got to take leadership on. Do the things that are necessary. So if you need to educate yourself, go educate yourself. Take a course that will help you be different from the rest of the competition that you're competing with for these roles, right? And I think our community can take that on even more because nothing in life is just handed to anybody. Realistically, and we can be straight up about that. So we got to work hard. Working hard is non-negotiable. And then as you work hard, you apply yourself, you pursue excellence. And I think that's what has made me me. And I've been allowed to fail. Tommy's been great for me here. Our ownership group, Linda, Southern Healthcard, and the whole Spruce Meadows family, they've allowed that for me. So I also have to appreciate them, because if I don't have them, I don't have that type of opportunity to continue to step forward and grow in my role. So yeah, I would say that.
I love that. I love that piece. Jamar, you have anything to add? What's your personal take on it, of the reason why you've excelled?
No, to be honest, I think Tofa mentioned it all. I resonate with that. It comes down to your standards and what you want, and understanding that anything that you want to achieve, it's not easy, man. It's not easy to win championships. It's not easy to get these type of roles. It's definitely earned, and you have to prove yourself, and you have to continue to be successful in what you do. For me, I think one of the most important things that I've learned throughout this transition into this role is how personable you have to be, and your network, and understanding people. I think that's something that it's kind of helped me, from going to a captain into this role. If you don't know how to deal with people and understand people, and take time and be patient, um, how do you expect to make mistakes and people be patient with you and understand who you are, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of give and take, instead of, it took me a little bit, because I was, obviously I'm thinking about on the field. I'm like, go, gotta do this, gotta get that done. You can't transition that fully to the front office, right? Or else people get hurt, they get touched, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you gotta find a way where, like I said, that was a transition for me. But I also started to understand that now, when I'm in the front office, it's now that's my squad as well. So I got to
Yeah.
figure out what ticks this person off, or how this person excels if I support them this way, or how does she work better in this environment. You know what I mean? So just being able to support everyone and understand everyone is, I think we all deal with that in our roles as well. Just like we're understanding of other people, and their understanding of us. But again, to Tofa's point, we also got to be thankful for the league, and for the ownership that helps us and puts us in these positions, because they've taken a chance on us as well. Yes, it's earned for sure, but they still got to give us the opportunity for us to flourish and do our thing. So for that, forever grateful.
Like when you're speaking, the thing that sticks out to me as well is just like, leaders, you're chameleons. Like, we're all chameleons. Like, you can't just stick to one little thing and this is it. You have to be able to like adapt and to morph into what you are, but still sticking true to your principles, right? Like who you are as a person, what you value. So it's beautiful to see everyone in this role, but specifically with you, Jamar, just like the fact that you can transition from that captain role and tackling mans on the pitch going forward, but like how it's the same principles off the pitch, but you have to adjust and morph and adapt to how things are. Jay, what would you say?
See, durability, able to compete, and to Jamar's point, you have to be you have to. I don't want to say code switch, but you have to be someone who can navigate a room, right? And for me, it's a lot of what we do is in the shadows. Ability to communicate right, That's from disciplinary to emails, through the team. Like you're kind of a conduit in this role, from your staff to the league to CSA to CONCACAF, right? So all this is going through you. So you have to be able to communicate effectively to your team, to convey messages to your coaching staff, to executives, right? So I think the ability to do that effectively is where I've excelled. To our point, though, some of the tough part of this job we don't mention is work-life balance, because football consumes you.
Yeah.
And I know everyone here is a competitor. And I mean, so you want to win. So having a family at home, having a wife, fiance, a child at home, it's taxing, right? That's why I said durability, having the flexibility and sustainability is to do this at a high level. There's not a margin of error in our business is very, very slim, right? Tofa knows, Jamar knows. You're putting something wrong in TMS, that's it, right? It's rejected, and a player is not registered. So you have to be very, very focused and very intensive in all of your tasks. And I think that's something that's a kudos to everyone on this call.
No, it is. Like, that's what I was also thinking when you were speaking to Jay. It's just like the commonality that everyone here shares, but you guys specifically, is the fact that you know what it takes to like get over the line, and there's only certain people that can like feel what you feel. Do you know what I mean? Like your job, but through someone else's lens, looks different. Like I look at the three of you and I'm like, you guys have the same experience. So you're talking about TMS, like all those things. It's like only you guys really know this about. And it brings me back to my first point about being the trailblazers and the first to do it. Is like you're the first to stick your head out and get this role. And there's so many people you're grateful for. But then in the background too, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I'm just saying from the outside looking in that you're also the first. So that comes with that like trial period, or like the room to mess up. It's almost like you don't have trailblazers before you to really show you. And you're whether it be your father or whether it be older brothers, whoever it is that inspired you to get to this role, you're also like doing the job that you do for them. So like the work-life balance is a huge thing, but it's like that pressure maybe that is on your shoulders to be your best self and know that you don't want to be messing up. You want to be as good as you can be for the next little bit. I guess
it's attention to detail. That's what I would say. It's attention to detail, and that should be normal. You know, just because we're Black doesn't mean we shouldn't be paying attention to detail. That's what I would say. It really, at the end of the day, it's not a surprise whether you're Black or whatever the case may be to be in these roles. I think the thing that's been in history is there hasn't been enough, right? Yeah. So why can't we also pay attention to detail? We know we're educated. Good people at the same time, so it's no difference.
Yeah, I found this too even when I was playing and I went on trials and like it didn't work out with the club. I remember just being like, you have to have the same enthusiasm like you're gonna sign, like this next team that you're meeting, you're gonna sign. And I remember being 23 and I'm like, I'm gonna use this, is gonna be my cheat code and superpower for life. So whatever room you walk into, whatever job that you hold, it's like you have to have that same enthusiasm, like you're still hunting for that job, that you still want it, you know. And that's why I respect and I give you guys your flowers, because I'm not just saying this because we're on this call. This is what you embody every day. But there's that domino effect, right? Like Tofa can't slack off because Jamar knows and Jelani knows, and they're breathing down his neck as well. And I feel like this is how we like develop a community, right? It's like I'm in a position right now and I know I can't slack off because there's someone else that wants my job, but there's also someone else that's saying I could do this job because Jordan's doing it. So like this is why, again, if we all were to play right now, everyone's getting tackled. Everyone wants that one little job. But like there's still that feeling of we love each other, we respect, because we know what it is to like go through certain things, right? So I think this is the beauty about that month is that, or this month, is that you can highlight that, but it's bigger than that. It's every day, because when we see each other, we kind of already know what it is, you know? And to Jay's point about code switching, what it is, I almost think that's a superpower as well, because someone else in your position that doesn't share the things that you've been through can't do that. They can't have certain secret handshakes or talk to people where they are because they haven't been through what you've been through, you know? So that's almost like a superpower that everyone on this call possesses.
It makes you relatable as well, because you're dealing with players, and all of us are recent retirees in that sense, right? So you have to have a balanced relationships there too, because your players have to respect you in a sense, knowing that you're not. I don't want to say on par, but you're not a player anymore. You're not executive, and so we'll revert back to, hey, what you saying? Like, you're good? You know what I mean?
You know, like, yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't leave you. You know,
Yeah,
like at the end
right.
of the day, it's who you are as a person. Like,
Yeah.
I love that point about being relatable because, there can be instances where, people can switch up when they, leave one place and go to another, and that tells you everything.
yeah.
To be honest with you, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about, and that switch up is crazy because it's like I was just I could see you yesterday and we're talking, and then because you go to a different role or whatever the case may be, it's now like some like power shift or whatever the case may be, and it's
For sure.
unfortunate that happens in our community sometimes, but that's where we gotta uplift each other, right?
Yeah.
We gotta uplift each other. I mean, Jelani calls me, we talk, Jamar, we talk, and it's just brutally honest conversations, even if they don't like what I have to say.
I think too quickly with like the last question I want to get into is like this all brings me to the fact that you guys are building legacy. Like, we're building a legacy. Um, but what does that look like for you, for like the future generation? Like, what do you want to see highlighted for the future generation? Maybe back to you, or Jay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Representation, man. That the last World Cup in 2022, 7 of the starters in each of those games were black. But how many executives or coaches at the CSA look like us, right? So
Exactly.
for me, legacy representation. So Tofa, Jamar, yourself, Jesse at the league, representation, and so on, legacy. So if we can inspire someone or open the door for someone, again, to everyone's point here, we all work in structures and organizations that have been very supportive of us. Uh, from Bobby, Matt, Dan, Costa, Doug, like, everyone's been fantastic with me here. So I think for me, looking forward into the future, representation, visibility are my priorities.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Representation, visibility, and listen, no one's asking for handouts,
No, never.
We're never here asking for handouts. We're just asking that, our work, which, I believe it has here, like I mentioned, Tommy, Linda, Ian, the whole Switch Meadows family. I think they've given me opportunity and they've said, okay, you produce, this is what happens. And I respect that. I don't want to be just handed something. I want to work for it and earn it, but also be given that opportunity. And I think that's the biggest message: opportunity. Continue to give opportunity.
Yeah, Jamar, how do you feel?
No, I would agree, man. It is exactly that. It's once you're given the opportunity, you have to excel in it, right? That's the only thing, which I think we're all doing. So, like I mentioned before, definitely grateful for the ownership, for giving the opportunity to me, but also for all of us to be recognized and celebrated in what we're leaving behind, right? We want people to look at us and say, okay, well, whether it's negative or positive, saying I can do this job better or whatever, I don't care. As long as you're looking and saying, you know what, maybe now uh, this is a route that I want to take. I don't know how I got to do it, but I want to take this route because I see, these 4 people doing something different. Then yeah, then go for it. You know what I mean? That's all that matters to me. I don't care about the noise. I just care about the positivity in the future and allowing people of the same skin color as us seeing that it's possible and we can do something, right? That's really what it comes down to, because we all have our kids, we have our nephews, nieces, cousins, whatever. There's a massive community here supporting us, so
Now,
that's really it.
it's so beautiful because all 4 of us, and I'm just specifically going to highlight you 3 right now in terms of your roles, was like your parents' dream. You know what I mean? Or like something that like someone 20 years before you didn't think was going to happen, and here in Canada talking about it. And footy, like when I explain my role to people, and if you guys probably all experienced this, they're like, no way. There's almost a sense of that you've earned it, but you're also trailblazers. I just want to say, like, I love you all, and you guys mean a lot to me. And I don't want to give you your flowers later. It's the time to give it now. So, happy Black History Month.
And I appreciate it,
Thank you,
man.
man.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you.